Living a life in full is a conversation you always wanted to have with that person who gave an amazing TED Talk, or the author of one of your favorite books, or that inspirational Olympian you always wanted to know more about. It's graduate-level conversations with those making a difference in the world and in the lives of others. This show brings you new ideas and approaches so that you can live a life in full. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Stout, and I hope you enjoy this episode. This episode is brought to you by the nonprofit I founded, the Center for Global Initiatives. The Center is an all-volunteer organization, so there are no salaries, and thus all tax-deductible donations can go to the work. While our key country partner is in Tanzania, our work is global and generally focused in the areas of education and healthcare. We also help others to get their nonprofits started or augment others' project-based initiatives. It's our goal to open-source humanitarian intervention and to help make it easier for others to do more good in the world. We are proud to have been ranked a great nonprofit every year since 2011 and to have achieved a platinum-level rating by GuideStar. Links in this episode's show notes will take you to published articles on our outcomes, a number of helpful tools, and downloadable resources, which are all free, always. Please visit us at centerforglobalinitiatives.org and be sure to watch our video at patreon.com/Dr. Chris Stout to learn more. Thanks. Welcome to another episode of Living a Life in Full. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Stout. What does it take to dismantle systems of injustice while building hope? One child, one case, one project at a time. Noëlle Demole can tell you how and more. She's a Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree who juggles fighting white-collar crime and runs a groundbreaking NGO for India's most vulnerable youth while pursuing a PhD in criminology at Cambridge and a world record or two. Her secret? Relentless planning, radical self-organization, and a vision that ties every facet of her life together. Noëlle's journey is a testament to resilience, vision, and interdisciplinary impact. Born and raised in Geneva, Noëlle's career is as multifaceted as it is inspiring. Her current job is serving as a client due diligence expert at the Julius Baer Bank in Switzerland, working the front lines in the global fight against white-collar crime and terrorist financing. But that's just one aspect of her extraordinary life. Noëlle's story is deeply rooted in a defining experience. At 18, she traveled to India at her grandfather's suggestion, volunteering at an orphanage that housed 120 children. That month sparked an enduring passion for humanitarian work, leaving an indelible mark on her sense of purpose that has never left her. After returning to Switzerland during an internship in compliance management at EFG Private Bank, Noëlle discovered her second calling: protecting institutions from the movement of illicit funds linked to drug trafficking, human trafficking, terrorist financing, and tax evasion. Realizing the profound intersection between humanitarianism and compliance, she decided to unite her passions and earned a master's degree in negotiation and conflict resolution from Columbia University. Recognizing the ability to negotiate and manage conflict is central to effecting real change, whether in the nonprofit sector or financial services. In parallel to her master's, Noëlle founded Shere Khan Youth Protection in 2018, an NGO dedicated to supporting homeless and vulnerable youth in South India. She saw firsthand the challenges faced by children forced out of orphanages at age 16, left to navigate life on the streets, often without education or skills, and vulnerable to falling into crime. She's also the founder and CEO of Egidays, which I hope I'm pronouncing right, we'll find out, an innovative Swiss startup providing free period product dispensers to businesses and schools, addressing essential health needs and promoting equity in public spaces. Her portfolio of leadership includes delivering a TEDx talk entitled Dancing with Danger, co-authoring the biography of Jean-Pierre Coni, a banker with heart, and co-authoring the #1 Amazon best-selling book, Leadership DNA, Shaping a Thriving Business Culture. She's also an executive producer of two ongoing documentary projects: The Wallet of the World, exploring Swiss private banking, and The Lost Prince, chronicling her humanitarian work in India. Her accolades, in addition to the Forbes honor for her humanitarian contributions, include delivering a keynote at the 2024 Forbes Money Summit in Zurich and recognition as one of the most emerging women leaders of the year in 2024 by Victory Magazine. Noëlle is currently pursuing a PhD with research focused on sex trafficking, further amplifying her commitment to justice and social progress. When she's not working, she enjoys traveling and spending time with her family, shark free diving, as most of us do, alpinism, and a Guinness World Record attempt project that we'll be talking about today. In this episode, we'll explore how Noëlle manages multiple impactful projects, the strategies she uses for effective planning and self-organization, and the vision that ties together her many roles, proving that a life fueled by purpose, discipline, and empathy can indeed change the world. Noëlle, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for having me today.
It's great. So I wanted to start off, your journey weaves together, we kind of talked about this off mic before we started, together with like high finance, humanitarian work, your academics with, Cambridge and Columbia, and you span continents, you span cultures, from orphanages in India to the halls of Cambridge, you work in Swiss banking and beyond. So today I hope we can explore maybe some of the underlying threads of your story, your philosophy, and your vision for impact. So having said all that, let's maybe begin at a pivotal moment in your life, perhaps that experience in India. What did you see or experience that fundamentally shifted your worldview and set you in this current path?
So yeah, very, very good question, Chris. And let me know if I get a bit too far and out of the subject, because I have a tendency to talk a lot. But
No worries.
no, so going to India. So I went to India. I was 18, going on my 19th year. So I was young. I've never been out of my country, where we are very comfortable here, and I've always had a very, very comfortable life, and I've never really seen dramatic, chaotic, and poor places as I saw in India. And the thing is, what happened there, I had a big, a serious culture shock, to be very honest. And maybe it seems very cliche to say so, but going from Switzerland at 18, and having lived 18 years here, and then suddenly, arriving in India, in the south of India. And the first thing I remember that I saw, so going from the airport in a car, going to the place where I would spend the night.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I saw was a very young girl, very, skinny, skeleton skinny.
Mm.
She must have been not more than 6 years old, 7 years old max, working on a train highway. So like
Oh.
on the train, how do you say the train,
Train tracks?
the train tracks,
Uh-huh.
sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Literally on the tracks, picking up stuff in the tracks, I don't know, food, whatever. And she had like this bag, and she was like picking up stuff. And I kind of studied the thing later. These kids just pick up anything they found, and then they try to sell it. So basically, that's the first thing that I saw,
Mm.
literally arriving with the plane in India. And that moment, and it was like almost 11 o'clock in the evening, midnight. It was very late in the evening. And so I thought, oh my God, I've never seen this, not even in a movie, not even in a
Mm.
documentary, not even, like, and it really, really made me feel bad about just even being there and watching this, thinking about all the things that I have back home. So that moment was, I knew that this trip in India was going to change everything, to be very honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything that I saw just did change everything in me. And I don't want to say this to make myself interesting or to, but it really, really changed my whole life going to India that year.
Wow.
Definitely.
Wow. So
Yeah.
when was the idea to just go as like a tourist, or was it to go do some volunteer work, or what specifically, like
Yes.
once you got off the train, what happened?
Absolutely. So basically, I was advised by my grandfather, which I deeply loved, and who's not with us anymore, unfortunately.
Mm,
I was very, very close to him, and he was the one who told me, you know, you just finished school, high school,
mm-hmm,
and he said, I don't think, because I didn't really know what I was going to do. Right, I was kind of a rebellious teenager. I never did anything seriously,
mm-hmm,
to regrets, but I was a bit lost. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with my life, to be honest with
mm-hmm,
you.
mm-hmm,
And my grandmother told me, Noelle, I think don't just, apply at university just to go there and just to study like everybody else and just choose any faculty. Just, take some time and actually maybe go somewhere. And I said to him, okay, where to?
uh-huh,
And he said, well, actually, through my own work. So he was a banker
uh-huh,
back in Geneva, and he told me that he's been sponsoring and giving a lot of money back to India through the bank uh, um, that he actually founded.
wow,
And he told me, go to India because I have one person that I know that is that I can trust, that could eventually show you around, and maybe you could help out some people there
hmm,
and just get out of your comfort zone. And then my mom was like, that's a great idea, just get out of your comfort zone. And I, by that time, I wanted to work, in a coffee shop or whatever, and they were like, you're not going to do that, you're just go and see the world.
uh-huh,
No, I wanted to earn some money and to see what it's like to be in the real world. And my grandfather really advised me to go and see India. So it really, a lot of things in my life is thanks to him.
mm-hmm,
So that's why I ended up there. And when I was there, I was able to work in an orphanage, one particular orphanage, for a month. And I had the opportunity to choose between a school where you had 200 blind kids, which was very, very difficult for me to even, wrap my head around,
mm-hmm,
to work for a month with 200, blind kids. For me, it was too much. And I felt ashamed of thinking that. But then I had the opportunity to choose between this or a regular orphanage, so the one you talked about in my bio, and I chose that one. So basically, my grandfather's contact here in Switzerland had a contact in India directly, somebody we can trust, and I ended up to this woman's home
mm-hmm,
outside of city, outside of Chennai, really in the countryside, in the middle of India.
wow,
And I started my second day, sorry, choosing that orphanage.
mm-hmm,
And every day for a month, I was working with all these kids, helping out the sisters. So these were Catholic sisters,
uh-huh,
taking care of the orphanage. So here we're like 2 hours from Chennai, right, Chris? So we're like in a small village called Arni,
mm-hmm,
and there's a lot of orphanages everywhere. And that's when everything for me kind of started. That's where, I knew what I was going to do in my life. That's where I saw the world. That's where I saw suffering. That's where I realized a lot of things for me. And that's also where I realized that how important it is to know where you're going and to do something with your life and not just hang around not knowing, and be okay with and being okay with not doing anything and just figuring it out. Like, that's where everything changed. Yeah.
I think your journey is, it's varied by virtue of the path, but I think the context and the sense of finding a purpose, you're very premature with
Yes.
that. I know a lot of people decades older than you that are still trying to figure out, what am I going to do, or what's my purpose? And it seems like it really,
Mhm.
is in a sense a fortuitous kind of opportunity to do that. So, I just want to get straight in my head. So you had this experience. Then did you come back and go to university? And then after undergrad, did you start the nonprofit, the NGO, or was it
Yeah,
You're the kind of person that seems to do 15 things at once. So I'm wondering where these things
I do.
overlap, or if one thing ends and the next thing begins. So step us through that part, the next part.
Honestly, Chris, I'm like, I literally have my CV opened in front of me because I'm like, I don't want to tell Chris anything that is wrong in the timeline because I don't remember everything. But um, but to answer your question regarding, founding the NGO, so definitely, I was too young. I had no experience whatsoever of anything. I had no money aside. I was still a student living, off my parents. And after coming back from India, obviously that year, so I did other things, but nothing worth saying today on the call. But
Uh-huh.
I just had to figure out, about myself and this trip in India. But then definitely I went to school. So I went to university. I understood the importance to actually get a degree and
Hmm.
get and go back to work, go back to studying. And I did my bachelor's degree here in Geneva in international relations, and that was good. That was cool.
I bet.
And then obviously after that, I wanted to go to the next step, to the next challenge. Did a master's degree in New York. That's when I had an opportunity at Columbia, which was amazing, which,
Hmm.
by the way, Chris, I never thought I would get into that amazing school. And we're going to talk about it after, but it's always like, honestly, 80% of the things that I was able to do, I never thought I,
Wow.
I could. And so there's this thing where I always tried, and even when I applied there, I was like, let's just apply as a joke. Like, I know I'm never going to get in, but let's just apply, right? And then things happen, and then you're like, oh, it happens to so many people. It's not just some people with different brains, out there that are not in your, you know eh, sometimes you think that things are not in the cards for you, but they are.
Hmm.
And so when I was during that year in New York, I was alone. I was very alone in the first month. It was also another challenge to find myself as a young Swiss female ending up in New York City,
Right.
this
Yeah.
amazing big city,
Hmm.
not knowing one person.
Hmm.
And Chris, then I had some time on my hands. So next to my studies, next to my classes, next to, some boxing lessons and trying to make some friends, I was alone every evening, and I was alone on weekends, honestly, in the first 3, 4 months. And then, yeah, it was not easy. And then I thought, I finally have the time to maybe think about India and doing something. And we're talking about
Ah.
now almost 6, 7 years since the trip in India,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And I knew that at the time I was 18, 19, I couldn't do anything. You cannot help if you haven't helped yourself grow, develop, study,
Hmm.
work a little bit, or at least just study. You can't help without first being somebody yourself, right? So,
Right.
but at that moment, I thought uh, I would be ready to start brainstorming how I'm gonna do something.
Hmm.
Um, and basically, I used my time at lunch times, in evenings, weekends, to start founding this NGO because I always wanted. It was very clear to me, Chris, that I did not want to join any NGO or anybody's work because I have this thing where I trust only myself for a lot of things. I
Uh-huh.
want to be my own leader, my own boss for especially for humanitarian work because you don't always know what's happening if you don't have the full control.
Hmm.
And I thought I want to do my own thing. And from picking up the phone, doing that first call with people that I met in India, and just every day doing one step after another and building it up. And I did that during my year in New York,
Hmm.
and I decided to create an NGO in order for me to give back uh, so many things that I've actually received in my life. I really felt the need, Chris, to give back. It's as simple as that. And I
Yeah.
thought this is the time now. And I forgot to mention, Chris, I uh, discovered compliance as an intern between my bachelor's and master's. So I also had some work experience. I already knew that I was gonna do compliance work in my life.
Hmm.
So I felt that this was a quite a good time to start the NGO, and I didn't want to lose more time. And there's also a very special story that happened in India that made me really think I don't want to waste another year,
Wow.
basically. So,
All
so
right.
yeah.
Well, let's put a pin in that special story. So to summarize, you then this happened. You get on with life. You start to learn things, get connections, etc. Now you've got some time on your hands, and the aspect of still wanting to help these children, the teenagers,
Yeah.
be able to
Yeah.
get out of whatever the next step was for them, which seemed to be kind of off the side of a cliff in a sense in terms of further
Yes.
education, career,
Life.
high risk kinds of things. So I think that's great. I with we were again off mic before we started. I started a nonprofit a number of years ago now,
Yeah.
and my
Mm.
mentor, basically, said that. In the and I've written about this a little bit with LinkedIn of kind of referring to myself as an
Mhm.
accidental humanitarian, and I think you and I have a similar kind of background as I think you and I also share with a number of other people that work in that space that there's some
Mm.
there's something that happens. There's an opportunity that you have with other people who I feel
Mm.
like we learn from their experience, the good and the bad of their experience, but also then gain an inspiration that just sticks with us. It's not like you immediately come back and start doing things, but like for you, it hot housed, it incubated over time, and it was always
Yeah.
kind of there. And then it's probably not to get
Was
woo.
cooking
Yeah,
for
yeah,
7 years.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
percolating, it's cooking. So,
Yeah.
and not to get woo woo, but it's sort of like sometimes the timing has to be right. And now here you find yourself with some time free in New York, and still have this itch
Yeah.
that you need to scratch to help those others. So let's go back to that pin. So let's pull that out, and what's this story?
Yeah. Chris, if I may just add before telling you the story, I think America had a big role in my in the enhancement of who I am, and this will to make so many things. Coming to America from Europe, from Switzerland, was really for me a huge plus in my life. And
Huh.
my whole family, yeah, for me, America, New York, arriving there, the atmosphere, the vibe that I got there, the excitement, the positivity, that I really felt like I could have my own kind of American dream, if I may say so.
Sure.
uh, I mean, I love that country. I've always loved America. I've always dreamt to go there one day.
Hmm.
My dad went there. My grandfather went there. My mom went there, and I've always wanted to go there. So I think in some way, just going to America also kind of gave me the strength
Hmm.
to say now is the right time, because the place
Wow.
got me so motivated, if I may say so. I
Yeah.
really want to
Well,
insist America was a big gift for me, to be
that's
honest. And I think
that
yeah,
that's
we
very
have a
nice.
lot to learn from that country.
And I have to say
Yeah.
too, just to give you a little feedback, I remember just when we were first seeing each other at the event that we met at. I remember seeing you just kind of come across. We were in Times Square, and you just looked like you owned Times Square. I mean,
No, don't
you
keep
were
it.
you were in your element. You were comfortable, and it was just sort of like, okay, who is that?
And,
So that makes it. It's nice to hear you put
Chris,
words to it, but honestly, I mean, that was I
no,
totally
really.
get what you're saying. That is quite authentic.
I
So
mean, yeah, it is from the heart. As a Swiss, ending up in America was a huge motivational, jump for me. But
mhm.
anyways, going back to the story, what happened is, in 2 words. I don't want to be 2 hours on this, because I could go 2 hours on this.
Okay.
I No, it's a nice story. I was very attached to one particular orphan. So a little boy, he was at the time 12. It wasn't clear, like 11 or 12 years old. And there's all these children, like, right, there's like 120 children,
Mm-hmm.
and of course you cannot really have preferences and you cannot really show that you have a favorite, but you always do have a favorite, I
Uh-huh.
think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and there's always that kid with whom you connect a little bit more than the others. And so basically, this little boy stayed with me all these years afterwards, coming back because it was very difficult to say goodbye to him when I had to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and behaved in a way that no other kid did. There was something special in his eyes, and I've never understood when people told me, you can understand people through their eyes. Like, just
Mm-hmm.
look at the eyes of that person. He
Mm-hmm.
looks like there's something fishy about that person. Oh, that person looks really happy and good. Look at the eyes. And I've never really understood that. Like, how can you tell things from people's eyes? It
Mm-hmm.
seems
Mm-hmm.
so, seems like it makes no sense to me. And when I was in India, and this little boy, the way he looked at me was, I can tell you, Chris, honest, it was different than any other looks from any other of the kids or anybody I've met in my life. And he had these eyes, and we connected. We stayed together a lot. We exchanged, even if there was a language barrier. And he was my inspiration,
Wow.
actually, to create Shere Khan. And I really have to say that because I insist on the fact that sometimes one person can have a huge impact on your life, and he
Mm-hmm.
was a big inspiration. He had this box. He showed me a box. So every orphan had a box to themselves, and their whole lives was in one box. That's
Ooh.
all they had. That was also another, yeah, Chris, that was also another, like, turn point in my life, just seeing these boxes. And he opened it and he was like, yeah, this is what I own. Basically, there was nothing. There was, like, if I remember correctly, like one exchange of clothes. So
Wow.
they had clothes, right?
Mm.
Like dirty, simple clothes. And he had like one exchange, like one shirt and one shorts, just a pair of shorts and a shirt, uh, and that was it. And he had, like, he did find this green ring on the floor somewhere, like a
Oh.
plastic ring.
Oh.
That was the only, like, material thing that he had, and he gave it to me.
Oh
And
gosh, Noelle.
yeah,
Oh gosh.
and Chris, I was like, keep that ring. That's like your toy, like your thing. And he's like, no,
Oh.
it's for you, as a memory of me and your time at this orphanage. And I was like,
Oh
ah,
boy.
how mature, how sad and mature and beautiful,
Oh.
and I don't know how to explain that moment was for
Yeah.
me.
Yep.
Just Chris realizing all the things I had, and
Mm-hmm.
this boy had this box, and there was like nothing in it. And this, and we just basically hang out the whole month together with the other kids, of course, but we had these memories together, eating together, playing together,
Mm.
painting our nails with my
Oh.
nail polish together, like,
Oh.
just ridiculous stuff. But and I remember the kids had, like, many fingers on their hands, like they had more fingers than me, because they had these diseases, right, where uh, fingers would just grow on other fingers. And I
Mm.
was it made me a bit scared. I was a bit, like, shocked.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what happened, Chris? They were laughing at my hands because I had only 10 fingers. you know
Yeah, that's
you know what I
great.
mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And
Wow.
I was like, I love this. And I came back and I was never the same. And this guy, um yeah, I cannot actually, if I can't spoil anything, because the documentary we're working on is about, uh I've always wanted Chris to find him again, because I never saw him again.
Mm.
And
Oh.
I promised this boy that I would come back to India, and I never did for 6, 7 years, until I found Shere Khan. And when I came back to India, building up the team and building up the whole thing, I went back. I was like, oh, where's the boy, not to say his name. And the sisters were like, well, what are you talking about? He's like a grown man, like now he's like 18. What are you talking about? He's not here anymore. I
Wow.
was like, what? Of course, how stupid am I? He's not there anymore. And they're like, yeah, he's just, they have to leave at some point because we need space for the younger
Right.
ones.
Right.
They're just thrown out. They're thrown out to, in the streets, basically in the wilderness, because, that's it. And they have nobody, nothing. And it was basically lost to me, if I may say that. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to see him again. And I'm actually building this NGO as a, being inspired by him. And then I actually created the NGO even more because I did lost him. And I was like, oh my God, if only I came back to see him again as I promised. Because then Chris, we exchanged some drawings, some letters, over the years.
Uh-huh.
And I never came back. Chris was busy with studying and figuring
Right.
my life out. And I have regretted that so much.
Oh.
And I came back too late, and it really even gave me a better reason to do an NGO
Yeah. Yeah.
for for that kind of that exit, a time where they have to leave. That's when we come in and we say, you're about to leave the orphanage, where, instead of starting a life in the streets, joining, gangs, or using violence as a means of survival, or girls being sold or whatever. Like, we don't want you to end up there. Come to us. We can help you. We can fund you a scholarship, go to school, go back to school, go to college one day, earn a degree, and get a job and earn a salary.
Yeah.
And that's actually what we do. And I did it basically for him, because of him, because I was too late. So that's the
Wow.
story in a nutshell, Chris.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful. Wow. So is
yeah.
that then the genesis behind the Lost Prince title of the documentary?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
you got it,
Makes
Chris. You
perfect
got it.
sense now. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get it. Wow.
interesting sense, right? So The Lost Prince is our documentary. So I actually have a tattoo on my left foot. It says Little Prince.
Uh-huh.
And actually, his name in Indian, in Tamil, means little prince slash little king.
Oh.
So every Indian name actually have a symbol, which is not the case, right, in our cultures. But and so I tattooed on my foot Little Prince as a memory of him, as my attachment to India.
Wow.
And and what happened, Chris, to be very honest, with the documentary, was a matter of coincidence. I met this producer on a shark diving trip. Can you imagine, in the Bahamas?
I can
And,
for you,
and
Noëlle.
I mean,
Of course.
and I'm like, of course, like, yeah, a normal Tuesday, right? And this guy, he makes a shark, documentaries. He was the producer behind Ocean Ramsey's documentary Saving Jaws. Like, he's into shark stuff and ocean stuff. And then we just talked. We got to know each other, and we wanted to work together on something with the oceans, with sharks. And he was like, Noëlle, I actually love your story with the NGO, with this boy, so much. I actually would want to do something about that. Do you want to talk more? Do you want to talk about that? And I said, yes,
Wow.
absolutely. And that's when we started a project of shooting a documentary on the story behind Shere Khan. And this dream this dream that I've had for years and years after that, of finding him, and being able to say thank you to him for being my source of inspiration, basically. And
Wow.
that's been our kind of, how can I say that? Our investigation, our research, going back there a few times and trying to find him. It's a whole project, and this is yeah,
Wow.
we want to show the story behind the
I
info.
can't
Yeah,
imagine. And is this I'm gonna play detective puzzler
basically.
here again too. So is there then a reference to Kipling's Jungle Book with the name of the foundation?
Of course, of course, of course. So obviously, I love animals. I love marine animals. My favorite ones, spending time in the water with them. But I also love any any other animal. And tigers, for me, were a nice childish symbol
Uh-huh.
for kids, like just an animal,
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful animal that is in India specifically. I think
Mm-hmm.
they're only in India and in Siberia for the white ones. And I thought it could be a nice symbol to have the type, there's Shere Khan from the Jungle Book,
Mm-hmm.
even though he's actually not a nice character. He's not the kindest character in the Jungle
Mm-hmm.
Book, but for me, the tiger was a symbol of protection and strength, and it's the beautiful animal symbolic of India. It's also an endangered species, unfortunately. And I thought for young kids, it's a nice way of having my logo, like
Mm-hmm.
a childish tiger,
That's good.
being
That,
Sure Can, protecting the next young generation. So
I
Sure
love
Can Youth
I
Yeah.
love all of the overlap of that. And I again, you and I have shared histories in varied ways. And we'll get into your alpinism soon, but I did a climb in Tanzania, did Kilimanjaro decades ago,
Oh
and
my God.
met a person who was a porter, and long story short, he and I kept in touch during the 90s as pen pals, and one of the things that
Okay.
they needed help with was establishing a kindergarten. They had all these orphans,
Yeah.
but they didn't have any educational kinds of things. So I was working with a number my specialty when I was in clinical practice was with children and families. And so I knew a lot of teachers,
Yeah.
I knew a lot of educators,
Mhm.
principals, things like that. So I got
Mhm.
together with them. This is kind of predates and is actually probably the starting of what now became our center was that, again, long story short, we put together a dossier of materials. It was all Western focused,
Yeah.
and so I explained that to say this is just this is kind of a Western focus. So please, insinuate it, with your fill it with your cultural aspects, et cetera, et cetera. With my partner who had formerly been a porter on a climb, and he's now in charge
Mhm.
of this kindergarten. He's now a priest. It was a Catholic situation, and we collaborated on it together, always as partners and collaborators, and it was submitted to the Ministry of Education in Tanzania and was accepted. So we got an official certification
Oh,
to
that's
start that.
amazing.
Yeah. So hearing your
Oh,
story, it seems like maybe we can.
so
There might be once we
yeah.
get off the show here and keep in touch. There might be some overlaps where.
Chris, absolutely,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
We're
So
kind of the same person in many ways, huh?
yeah, well, I think
We
we
have the
have
same.
certainly shared interests, so that's why I've been looking forward to
Yeah.
pick your brain about some of these things. So, all right, so I'm sure we will keep circling back to this, but now I'm going to hit
Yeah.
some other highlights in your career highlight reel. So,
Yes.
you then at Columbia, International Relations and Negotiation and Conflict Resolution, and then
Mm.
that is that then related to like what you do today in the banking industry in Switzerland, or tell us a little bit about that vis-a-vis white collar crime and trafficking and
Yeah.
terrorism financing, stuff like that.
Yeah. It's funny, Chris, because a lot of people are asking me, what's the correlation? Where's the link? Why all these topics? Actually, it's funny because it wasn't even planned, to be honest. My life just built,
Mm-hmm.
it built up organically, naturally.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow, all the topics I chose and all the topics I'm involved in, they really naturally collided and they are correlated. So, for instance, international relations for my bachelor's was a coincidence. After going to India, I was like, okay, that's the closest topic to maybe humanitarian work, understanding the world, understanding world orders,
Mm-hmm.
and how politics work. And so that was India's influence, right? And then compliance, that's white collar crime. And I was like, wow, why do I like this so much? I actually love the idea of fighting organized crime through a bank in my own country where, it's not like I'm going to go in the streets and be a police officer and
Right.
arresting,
Sure.
criminals, but actually doing it in a bank, indirectly, I am doing good and I'm doing kind of ethical work, if I may say so, because we
Mm-hmm.
are fighting terrorism, financing, corruption, and any forms of crime and financial crime of any sorts.
Mm-hmm.
And I got very attracted to that topic by coincidence. But then I was like, it's funny because I want to do humanitarian work, and these kids ending up in the streets, they can end up in forced prostitution, meaning sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Men can end up in gangs, selling drugs, selling weapons. That's dirty money right there. That one day, being in hands of powerful people, could end up in our banks. So if I work as a compliance officer, that's a way of combating that. It's correlated. And then, my master's degree in America, I thought negotiation and conflict resolution is a great fit because working in a bank, you have to negotiate a lot. As a compliance
Mm-hmm.
specialist, you have to, how can I explain this? You have to um, make people within the bank, let's say bankers, bankers, private bankers that actually bring in clients. We're going to investigate on them and where their money comes from. So this is basically the core of my work. Where does the money come from? How was it earned? Is it clean? That's
Mm-hmm.
in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
Making the industry specialists understand that we are here to ask those questions, to protect the banks, to keep their licenses, because we have to obey to certain to national rules, right, within the country.
Mm-hmm.
And every country now is becoming more and more strict about anti-money laundering laws, right?
Right.
And so that's my job. But my job is always continuously negotiating my way in, finding the answers to my question to make sure when we approve accounts, the money it can be corroborated and is plausible and is clean, right? So this is in a
Mm-hmm.
nutshell what I do, at least in my department. And so negotiation felt like a great fit to learn how to we actually learn how to negotiate, how to be a mediator, and how to be a facilitator. Do not ask me to define all three, they're different, but and so and then finishing my master's degree, finding this first job at Julius Baer, at Bank Julius Baer, which is the number two biggest bank in the country, biggest private bank, sorry. I wanted to go to the next level and do a PhD. And then I thought, okay, I'm seeing all these cases of organized crime happening through
Mm-hmm.
my work.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many dirty money out there that we have to look out for. And I've always been very interested, unfortunately, by this. For me, the worst crime one can do to another, trafficking human beings.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, modern day slavery in any form, any type. There's different types. I've always been very sensitive to that specific organized crime happening today. And it's one of the most profitable criminal business there is.
Mm-hmm.
And, these cases could happen, if you work in compliance, dirty money coming from that specific criminal industry could end up in our banks. And so I thought how interesting it could be to make a PhD as an academic, understanding that topic from an
Yeah.
academic point of view,
Yeah.
and then being able to kind of apply it or understand better my work in Swiss banks, how relevant it is to study it from another perspective, interviewing
Mm-hmm.
former sex trafficking victims, understanding how to fight dirty money through a bank, and then doing humanitarian work in India. So being in the prevention,
Mm-hmm.
angle, and then, actually, and then I realized very naturally, Chris, even I said to myself, oh my God, how interesting it is how all these things I'm doing, they're actually so correlated. I didn't even
Yeah.
plan for it really.
Yeah.
It's just different sides of crime and sufferings and fighting, and it's actually all about fighting injustice in a
Mm-hmm.
way
Mm-hmm.
through a bank, through my PhD, through an NGO. I'm trying. I'm really, really, Chris. I'm simply trying to do good as much as I can. And maybe it sounds a bit naive, but I've always tried to be a good girl, if I may say so, in a more serious manner. It was not just about making good grades at school and
Right.
obeying to the rules. I love obeying to rules today, which is why I love my work,
Yeah.
which is why I try to fight injustice and people that are
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to do certain things because they're hurting
Yeah.
a lot of other people.
It
And I
makes
and I
it makes perfect sense to
yeah,
me, Noelle. I mean, it's sort of like my picture of Venn diagram of all these what seem to be divergent kinds of things overlapping, and right in the middle is you. You know, it's you're kind of this the connective thread or the connective tissue, you know, between these things, and you have the ability to do this not only. I mean, you do it in your volunteer aspect in the humanitarian work, you do it in your day job and the work, so to speak, and you do it
yes,
in your academic work. I tell you, I'm going
that's
to get my crystal ball. I'm making a forecast here that when you finish your PhD, if you do a dissertation for it, which I presume you probably will, that's going to be one of
yes.
your next books. That will your dissertation will turn into your next book. So let me know when it comes out, and we can have you back on.
For
So
sure. I will, Chris, for sure. Thank
you
you for that.
and I think, when you were talking about this vis-a-vis the banking system, I have a couple of
Mm,
questions specific to that. Like one is,
yes.
we were talking off mic before. Well, I guess I'll interrupt myself. Like one is like the proverbial, it's a cliche. I don't know if it is in Switzerland, but it certainly is like in the US of follow the money. Like when someone's trying to do
Mm,
a criminal investigation about something that's, nefarious, that it's usually, there's a money angle in it when it's not a crime of passion or something like that. But it's, it's that.
yes.
And certainly, the ante gets added to when it's white collar crime and high stakes kinds of things, and then multinational kinds of things, and Interpol and whatnot. And we were talking pre to hitting record today about Peter Klein, who is a guest on the show a couple of episodes ago, and he has a documentary called Bribe Incorporated, and it's a number, as you've been describing what your day job is. There's a lot of overlap, obviously with bribery, and that bribery isn't necessarily universally illegal, which I think then complicates your situation. And one of the things, just real quick, in his documentary, there is an organization, which I can't tell you the name of it right now, but there's an organization that vets, companies and stuff vis-a-vis that they get like a good housekeeping seal of approval, that they don't take bribes and they operate ethically, and blah blah blah, all within proper guidelines that I presume is kind of what you deal with on the banking side of things. And this person was found that people were like getting around them, and and working around them. And I think that just adds to it speaks to the
Mm,
sophistication, but adds to the complication of probably what your job is like, of trying to play whack-a-mole. That once you kind of figure out, oh, here's ways that people try and hide money, launder money,
yeah,
do
yeah,
whatever. And I know enough
yeah.
from the work that I've done historically with
Mm,
terrorism that just
mm,
funding jihadists, or funding criminal
mm,
enterprises, be it a terroristic organization or a criminal organization, which I guess are kind of
mm.
terrorists or criminals. But how, I mean, it just seems like, how is it for you in your day in, day out? I mean, you don't need to tell us anything that's confidential, but I mean, do
Yes.
you uncover these kinds of things in the work that you do, or with your colleagues? Or tell us maybe kind of an insider's perspective
Yeah.
of what a day in the life or a week in the
So,
life of a compliance officer in Swiss banking is like.
so very high level, Chris, of course, because this is still my job and it's very confidential and
Yes.
it's not something
Yep.
we talk a lot about in public, but very high level. First of all, to answer one of your questions, yes, it's very difficult for us to tackle these crimes working in banks, in the sense that what's difficult, and it's very simple, crime is always one step ahead, always. And this is very difficult to accept for someone that's you know for someone like me,
Yeah.
where all my life is trying to
I
to
totally get it.
to
It
do
would
something.
make me crazy. I totally get it. Yeah.
Crazy, but it is the case. I mean, that's my opinion. Of course, crime is always one step ahead. It is like this. It's always been that way. New processes to bypass the laws, new ways to hurt, new ways to hide, are always one step ahead. You always see the policemen in movies chasing after and once you figure, a scene, and then the guy is already one step ahead. It
Yeah.
really feels that way, because it's just, by the time our processes, the laws change to being more strict, by the time we have right processes in place, by the time we understand how crime works in order to detect it and see red flags, by those times, the criminal, wherever he is, whoever he is, and under whatever aspect he's hitting behind, uh, he's always going to be already to the next step, to
Mm-hmm.
so that we don't find him.
Yeah.
And the thing that is dangerous in this world is that highly uh, trained, highly skilled, highly educated people are themselves working for, you know, uh, criminals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's actually they're very sophisticated, they're very intelligent, they're educated, they're
Mm-hmm.
very they have professional lawyers, they have professional negotiators, they have professional,
Wow.
they have all
Yeah.
these. So
Yeah.
it's really like a highly, like, people have no idea how sophisticated this other side, this underworld, this
Mm-hmm.
underworld
Mm-hmm.
is. And so, which makes us always a bit behind. I would summarize this, my feeling with my job in this way, and it's the same with my PhD. It's like all these girls always falling into the same traps. They're the same traps, but they they're kind of used different ways. They're
Mm-hmm.
kind of improved as the
Yeah.
world, as the world develops. And it's crazy how we still fall in the same traps. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, crime is always one step ahead of the
Yeah.
game, which makes our job difficult. And tracing money is really one of my biggest interests, and the job is actually very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people see compliance as a very administrative, even to say the to say a vulgar term, to summarize it, as a boring, kind of a function within banks.
Mm-hmm.
It's, for me, the opposite of boring and the
Yeah.
opposite of admin.
Yeah.
We are compliance today, whereas it's onboarding, whereas it's tax compliance, AML monitoring, so studying transactions and analyzing transactions. Whether it's, I mean, any department of compliance today is at the center
Mm-hmm.
of banking, and not even banking interests, of any other industry and company. A lot of companies, if not every company today, has a form of compliance,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
the world is becoming more, how can I say this? The world is still is still kind of going to a more ethical
Mm-hmm.
uh, a way of doing things,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't accept anymore
Yeah.
abuse, violence, whatever it is. But at the same time, organized crime is getting way ahead of us, because there's always going to be people that are going to do those
Right.
crimes. There's always going to be people benefiting from wars, from COVID, from
Right.
whatever economic, crisis, whatever. So, both, the good and the bad are kind of growing
Mm-hmm.
at the same time together. But there's one that's always going to be ahead. And but yeah, coming back to the job, it's a highly interesting and central, like, it's a very central
Yeah.
important department in companies, and we actually take the decisions, Chris. We make decisions that are very important today that, 20, 30 years ago, it didn't exist,
Right. I
you
totally
know?
get it. I would think too, you're where you sit, so to speak, with having to deal. I mean, like in the States, there's, federal law and sometimes state variances. Like in the States, I know from like certain states have legalization of marijuana, for example, and other states don't. And I forget. I'm certainly no expert on bank laws or legalized marijuana, but that like there's these complications where people, like let's say in California, where it I guess is legal, that they can grow marijuana and but they need bank accounts and they need all these other kinds of, like any other business, small business, agribusiness, whatever. They need to have the same kinds of systems and the same access to things. But then then the
Yes.
banks are kind of in this awkward position of like, well, is this legit? Is this legal? Is this, and it's sort of like that's evolving. So those kinds of things can exist. I don't know what it's like in Europe, but then in Europe, you don't have state differences. You've got country differences. And I would imagine that, every country's got some kind of variation around, like I talked about with, bribery, but then also just how, what,
Of course, they have their own rules, their own
gosh,
laws, their own
I
everything. Yeah,
can't
yeah, yeah,
imagine. And oh my gosh, it just, and cultural differences, linguistic differences,
for
and
sure.
oh my gosh.
But
So,
we still have a tendency, Chris, to move towards like fighting dirty money,
mm-hmm,
fighting,
mm-hmm,
dirty cash. That's still, at least in Europe, and honestly, all over the world, at least in developed countries,
uh-huh,
it's a tendency to strengthen our rules,
yeah,
our regulations, our laws, to try to combat, financial crime
yeah,
a maximum.
yeah. How,
Yeah,
how do you, I
which
have
is
maybe
good.
one last question on this, then we can, get into some other things too. What's the role or what's the impact, either that has happened or that you would predict with your crystal ball, with like Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies?
Um, yeah, so we're not very open to that, Chris. Not
Good.
yet.
That
In
makes, I get it.
um, to be very honest, so we have today in the country. So talking about Switzerland, we have the first crypto-focused online bank that was actually a startup company many years ago. It's a bank called the Swiss Quote. I don't know if you know of it.
Mm-mm.
Swiss Quote. So it's the number one bank for crypto,
Huh.
and it's an online bank also, which is something very new. It's some say it's the bank of tomorrow. I am still in very traditional Swiss private banking,
Yeah.
and Swissquote is a really like new way of doing banking, and they are working a lot, and they are developing a lot. The crypto side, and they're very very much advanced in the crypto world, and
Okay.
which is something, not to say too much, but it's something that traditional banking is being quite careful
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
cryptos,
Yeah.
and this is normal. It's some banks are more open, than others to cryptos. This is
Mm-hmm.
I can't really talk more about it because I'm not a specialist at all in crypto,
Gotcha.
or blockchain and all of that. It's not my specialty at all, and it's a whole specialization. It's another world. But we have a Swiss bank, a Swiss online bank that is, moving towards that very much, and it's a very respectable, successful bank.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very young bank, but it's a very successful bank. So it's starting definitely, but I,
Wow.
I have nothing more to
I
say
hear
on
you.
that
No,
because I
well,
about
that answers the
about
question.
it.
It would be interesting, to find your crypto compliance colleague, and pick their brain about
Right? I
things.
mean,
So yeah,
myself, I would
yeah,
be myself interested to interview a crypto
yeah, yeah,
specialist because
yeah.
it's not my world. But personally, I'm careful with those
Yeah.
because it's I don't know that
I
world very
have
much.
zero
So yeah.
specialty and a lot of uncertainty myself, just because I'm so naive and uneducated about it. But it also seems like just what I read in the headlines in the Wall Street Journal and whatnot. That a lot of things that seem sort of unhackable and the whole blockchain, this and that, all of a sudden billions of dollars are missing, and indeed there are hackers that have the, like you said,
It's a
this.
mystery.
Yeah, the sophistication, like you said, it's
A
always kind of
mystery.
cat and mouse, and one step forward, two steps back, kind of a thing. So, all right, well, good.
I think why not? Or why not? But to me, it's still a very mysterious world.
Hmm.
I don't understand it from A to Z. So yeah, I think, and if you're not comfortable with something, that's it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
okay.
yeah, totally
Yeah.
agree. All right, well, let's shift. Now we're going to be talking about a different kind of business. So I hope well, tell me about your feminine hygiene products and the proper pronunciation of the name of the company.
Yes. So Egidays, you said it
Egidays?
very
Okay.
clearly. Very
Okay, good. I think
well. Egidays.
I think I said it right in the intro. Okay. So tell
You
us
said
about
it perfectly right.
okay, thank you. Tell us about Egidays and like how did it come about? How long has it been going on? And for people that are yet to be familiar with it, what you do with that?
So Egidays is actually a very early stage startup, Chris, that I've been building up since exactly now 3 years since the first brainstorming of it. Officially, I've created legally the legal entity
Mm-hmm.
a year ago, a year and a half now ago, and so it's very early stage where I am at the beginning of this. We can call it a startup company, but it's really a very early stage idea.
Mm-hmm.
But I am developing with a bunch of engineers, very highly qualified Swiss engineers from the EPFL, our very famous engineering school, the
Mm-hmm.
EPFL in
Mm-hmm.
Lausanne. Anyways, and we're building up. We're trying to develop a dispenser of tampon and pads with an anti theft in. Oh, sorry. Let me put my WhatsApp in. Sorry, in sleep mode. Sorry.
No, wow.
And basically, I want to sell to schools and companies and public spaces a dispenser where the end users, females, or any menstruator for that matter, could just find tampons or pads. If they have an emergency, and if they have their periods in public,
Mm-hmm.
they can simply, easily find free period products. For me, this is again, it's another kind of humanitarian mission that I have that I'm transforming into a business to have the experience of a business, how to build a company.
Mm-hmm.
But I want, at least first in my country, in Switzerland, to see period products available and free in all public spaces. I don't understand, Chris, why someone can find herself, at her desk in her company working, having an accident, having a surprise
Mm-hmm.
period, because periods are actually not by the clock. Many people do
Sure.
not know that, but
Right.
even later on in life, you never know when they can drop.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, Chris, I know it's a very intimate and female matter, but I think men have to understand it and they have to be interested in that too, because it's a basic need. It's, for me, it's the same need as going to the bathroom, and
Mm-hmm.
we have toilet paper,
Mm-hmm.
we have soap, we have a hand, tissues, whatever. S- there's even like condoms, like machines with condoms everywhere in airports. Like I'm seeing this all the time on highways.
Mm-hmm.
I've even, which is crazy, I've seen uh, a distributor of sex toys in a public, in a mall, and another one in a highway, kind
Wow.
of a shop. And there's never period products, Chris, which is
Mm-hmm.
like the most uh honestly, it's so basic. And if you
Mm-hmm.
have your periods and there's there for you, it's really a problem.
Yeah.
And using toilet paper is another problem. Like it's not comfortable, it
Right.
doesn't work, and
Yeah.
like you have a big problem. You cannot really function in your day correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And so imagine an employee, you have to run out of your work, you have to go to a shop and buy those, come back. Like it's such a hassle and a stress.
Yeah.
And for me, like I go in a bathroom and every time, Chris, for years, I'm like, there should be tampons or pads or any other period product. And so it's been like this idea that I have on the side, and I was like, I have to do this one day, I have to do something for this one day, but I don't have time. I have all
Right.
these
Yeah.
things I have to finish. And then, Chris, I'm like, no, because there's always time. There's always hours in a day that I could use. And I think, like, talking a bit more globally on the strategy, how I handle all of this, because it's been a mystery for so many people. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why they invited me to the Forbes Money Summit in Zurich. They're like, Noëlle, we just basically, we want to know, how is it possible to do all of that? And actually, Chris, not to seem arrogant, but it's possible. And I think people have no idea how uh, they have no idea of the potential that they have with the hours that they have in a day. A day has 24 hours, okay? You sleep maybe 6 to 8 hours. Even if you have a 9 to 5 job like I do, where you have to work 8 hours a day, the amount of other hours that you have every lunchtime, every hours in early morning, all
Mm-hmm.
the hours in the evenings, and like I use all of my time and all of my hours as if tomorrow I would not be here anymore. Like every hour counts. And I just try to work a maximum all the time. I have a little hour on a train going on a weekend in, I don't know, in Paris. I'd be like,
Uh-huh.
instead of being on my Instagram or just wandering around, I'd be like, oh, it's like a few hours. So it's actually 3 hours to go to Paris. I would be like 3, 4 hours. I would be like, oh, I'll just do I'll just do this. I'll just answer all those emails. I'll just start to do that. I'll plan on this project. Every hour counts. Waiting in an airport, waiting on a friend that is late for dinner. I'm always trying to work and progress in something, and that's my strategy. I work on lunch times, I work on evenings, weekends. But Chris, I also have time for my personal life,
Mm-hmm.
for fun, for movie night, for going out. Like I still have fun. I still
Yeah.
do a lot of things for I just like I try to progress in all these projects at the same time, but every day, every week, a little bit
Yeah.
in everything. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Oh, I totally get it. I totally get it, Noelle. It's sometimes it's an an iterative process. Sometimes it's fits and starts. I had a guest on earlier this year, Jody Wellman, and she has a book called "You Only Die Once," and part of it is just feeling.
Yeah, that,
Isn't
yeah.
that great? Yeah, and it was very befitting to a show called Living a Life in Full. And again, I think obviously you're kind of a poster child for that sort of a thing as well. But I think when people have, you've got the, quote unquote, 8 hour day, 40 hour a week day job, but it's also something that's important. And also, it does not suck the life out of you. It's something that you feel, you do important work, you feel impassioned by it. You have additional ideas. I mean, now you've got the humanitarian NGO, and now, another feather in your cap is being a social entrepreneur with, doing this with Egidays. And all those things, again, just you can't, you're the kind of person that sees a problem or whatever and can't just walk past it or, give up on it or leave it to somebody else. And, and you engage
Exactly.
other people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I totally get it. So maybe this is a good segue. I don't want to delve into your personal life, but just to let everybody know too, you're kind of recently engaged. Congratulations.
Yes.
That's
Thank you so
awesome.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so great. So yes, you do have a social life. Yes, you do get to, go out and have fun. I don't want people
Yes.
to think you're just kind of toiling away, at all these different wonderful things. But one of the other
Mhm.
things that I only know a teeny weeny bit about that I want to know a heck of a lot more about, I know that
Yes.
you're an alpinist. I know, lucky you, where you live, by the way. But
Right? It's our national sports, so I
yeah, how
just
do you
yeah,
not? How do
you
you
have to.
live in Switzerland and not climb? But not so much to Switzerland is free diving. You've already noted how you network with shark divers to make documentary films and things like that. But you tell us about your bona fides in the wild athletics. Just tell I don't know, I don't feel like I know all the stuff that you have done and are involved with, and then lead us up to what your Guinness World Record attempt is.
Yes, so on the side, Chris, because even though I work a lot, I'll say this also coming back to your previous question, I also love what I'm doing, and I love every bits of working. You also have to love working
Yep. Yeah.
to work and be able to do all of that. But work is not just work for me; it's actually pleasure. I just
Yeah.
love working all the time with the things that I do,
Yep.
which I feel very lucky to feel that way. But so of course on this, so I mean it's still, so I would say I love working, but this is still work. It's still efforts. It's still work, right? So on the side, there's all these other things I wanted to do, and that I would use my holidays for, and some weekends also not working for, and all of that. Of course, I can't do as much as I would love to, but that's okay. So mountains, of course, I've grown up within mountains. I had to ski since I'm very young, and my dad was somebody that climbed summits here in Switzerland. So he stayed only within the country, but he did the Matterhorn, which is our very
Wow.
famous,
Yep.
mountain in Zermatt,
Yeah.
which is a very dangerous, deadly
That's a
summit.
tough
But he
climb.
trained for
Yep. Yep.
the tough one. It's like our mountain, and every Swiss is actually dreaming of being able to go up there. And my dad, seeing him building a career, having kids, having his wife, having friends, and having so many things, he still managed to train for mountains and to be able to do the Matterhorn at some point. And my grandfather was actually himself. So we're all very Swiss, right? We're all 100% Swiss, and we all ski, we all summit, mountains. And so I saw, so none of the females in my family were into mountains. I'm the first one. And I loved the idea to kind of copy my grandfather. So when I talk about my grandfather, Chris, I specifically talk about my mom on my mom's side, like my mom's dad,
Uh-huh.
Jean-Pierre Quoni.
Uh-huh.
He's my grandfather. And so I'm very close to him specifically. And so I saw him always being in the mountain. And he used to tell me that uh, walking in mountains and being within mountains has actually taught him a lot of things on how to do his business, on how to work, on how to
Wow.
come back home and like deal with the conflict or with the fight. So I've listened to him loving mountains. I've listened to my dad loving being able to be in mountains. And then I was like, I want to be also in mountain. I want to be like them, even though I'm a female. And what's interesting is in Switzerland, not so long ago, the Matterhorn was prohibited to women. Women were not allowed to climb the Matterhorn.
No. You're kidding.
Crazy. Not so long ago. I don't have the exact date,
Wow.
Chris, but you can Google it. Like like Switzerland has been very, very, traditional, and
I'll
it's
be
been
darned.
yeah. So things like this, and so I climb some summits when I have the time. I try to train. Obviously, I haven't done any 6, 7, 8 thousander, only 4, 5,000 meter summits,
Only.
which is
Only.
already not
Only.
you know it's nothing compared to all these guys climbing Everest and stuff. It's nothing, but we have our mountains and they're beautiful. And my fiance actually proposed on the summit of a
Oh.
mountain, which is really nice. Um, that
Oh.
because I kind of yeah, I brought him with me to do this, and he's never done any alpinism, and he discovered it through me, and he loves it.
Oh.
And then there's mountains and there's oceans. um, I have started scuba diving through my mom, and then I discovered free diving as by myself. Actually, Chris, living in New York, because again, being in America has no, but honestly,
You kind of
you're not
passively
gonna
said that you were
believe.
taking boxing classes and now you're free diving in New York.
Yes,
Okay.
also, not in New York, but being in New York, I was inspired by some people freediving in Florida. And I
Wow.
was like, what is this new sport that I don't know of, like freediving and even like shark freediving? What is it? I, took the opportunity to go to Florida by myself and learned it on the spot.
Wow.
And I was very attracted to the idea, Chris, to be able to discover oceans for the first time, not in a scuba diving gear, but in a free, kind of in a free way, kind of like just you, your fins, breath holding, holding your breath,
Yep.
and being able to go underwater at the depth that you want and kind of dance. And even like it's not even dancing, it's like taking a walk, if I may say, taking a swim
Wow.
next to beautiful marine animals, and especially sharks or whales or or even giant jellyfishes. I mean, it's been to me, Chris, like on my free time for leisure, the most beautiful and peaceful activity that I've been doing. Alpinism is one thing. It's challenge, it's hard. I've cried in the middle of summiting a mountain. Like it's really hard. And I do this to learn about resilience and how effort and hard work you need to kind of go through it. But it's a different kind of pleasure. Whereas being in oceans and learning how to dive, learning how to dive, learning how to free dive, learning about your body, learning about respecting oceans, learning about respecting an animal. You don't want to be bitten by any animal, whether it's a shark or any other animal that could feel threatened by you. Well, there's a whole behavior you have to learn about it. If you respect, if you behave well, if you keep your distances, if you learn about that animal, if you study it correctly, well, you might as well be welcomed in their world, and you might have a little swim with them and nothing's going to happen. Does that make sense?
Wow. Yeah, I get
Like,
it. Yeah. Wow.
and I love those two worlds. It's kind of the two extremes, mountains and oceans. I just love that person. That's what I do for me. That's
That
what I try to do
well, and it's sort of like,
for sports.
Noelle, I'm going to get kind of poetic here or attempt it, but I mean, it's sort of like I see a parallel between that experience and back when you were 18 in India. You were a different person in an alien environment with things that might be at first
Yes,
scary and fearful and then turn into loving and
that you
I mean,
yeah.
it's wow, wow. Have you seen the movie? I
Yeah,
think,
you're right.
what's that?
Yeah. No, you're right. I never thought about this. Like loving some place that seemed the opposite of
Yeah,
your human
yeah,
life on
yeah.
Earth, going in oceans or like in mountains or like going in India, like from your day to day, just opposites. Yeah,
So
it's
now
interesting.
for the Guinness record thing, tell us about that. You're
Oh yeah.
combining these two things in a very
Yeah.
unique kind of way. What was the idea spark for that? And then tell us the mechanics and the plans.
To be honest with you, Chris, I've in the last years, working on all of these things, I've been putting sports a little bit on the side because I think sports comes last if you want a career, if you work, if you have hours. Obviously, social life, friends, and sports sometimes they come a bit at last, right? Because that's the thing to sacrifice. And I was a bit upset about that because I've always loved doing different sports. And but those two are my favorites. And I had this idea to if I can motivate my it's all about motivation. It's all about motivating yourself. Like if I have a project, if there's a goal, if there's something I need to reach, I will be much more motivated,
Hmm.
to go to a sports class or sports training,
Mm-hmm.
because sports was a bit like the thing I left aside, and I thought there's my health involved, and I want to be able to move, but I'm sitting down all the time, Chris, every
Mm-hmm.
day,
Yeah.
times, as I said, evenings, weekends, working on all these projects, and I forgot a little bit about nature and sports. Even though I try to do that during my holidays, it's not enough. And if I have a specific like sports challenge, maybe I'll be more strict about my
Yeah.
schedule for sports. And
Yeah.
that's when I thought, how can I do that? How can I turn my sports not into a leisure anymore, but actually, again, in a sort of working project,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of force myself to have a more disciplined routine with sports.
Mm-hmm.
And to be very honest, Chris,
Uh-huh.
you know who inspired me?
Who?
I got somebody that you actually interviewed, Jen Drummond.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yep.
I was very inspired by her
All of her second
as an
seven
American.
summits. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Break proof.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
break proof. And I was a bit looking about all these women that I admire, that I follow on LinkedIn. How do they do sports? How do they manage? And these women have kids, and they have even families I don't even have yet. And I'm like, how do they do it? And seeing people like Jen, I was like, oh, it's actually possible to handle even more, to even go and do the second seven summits, and having
Mm-hmm.
7 children and doing all of that. And I have to say, maybe I'm an inspiration to some people, but I get a lot of inspiration myself from other people. And I think this is the beauty of doing things, because you are an inspiration, but you're always inspired by others. And I
Right.
think that's beautiful, and
Yeah.
that's okay to be inspired. And she was doing this Guinness World Record, and then I thought, that's maybe an idea for me, to set a record that could actually motivate me
Uh-huh.
to go back into
Sure.
school,
Yep.
not just on a holiday basis, but on a regular basis, during my working weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like, how can I come up with something very unique, that is my idea, my only idea, that is not dangerous, not too dangerous, with the time that I can allow for that project, right?
Uh-huh.
No, because you have to consider the time that I have for that. And being a professional mountaineering, athlete, Chris, is challenging if you
Yeah.
have a full-time job, and if you can't be always in the mountains and preparing, and if you don't
Mm-hmm.
want to risk your life too much. I thought something only with mountains is not the best idea, but I can combine it with the oceans. And my idea was to eventually, and I'm training for that right now, um, is to combine both. And I thought, what about the highest altitude free diving performance?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, how can I combine altitude and going up, but still going down in an ocean?
Right.
Like, how
Yeah.
can I go down at the
Will
same
you
time? And I, you know,
free dive to sea
and
level?
and I thought, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, how it's not interesting to just dive at sea level. I have to dive
Yeah, of
more,
course you, of
more in
course,
altitude.
Noel. Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah. So
right?
tell us how this works.
And so I made some research, and this has been months of research. There's been a guy that went to the highest point of water on Earth. This is in Chile.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how do you say in English? Chill? Chile?
Chile. Chile. Mm-hmm.
Chile.
Chile. Mm-hmm.
There's a lake at 6,000 meters in altitude, 6,000 plus. There's a point of water, and there's a guy a few years ago that actually did the first scuba diving there. And I was like, oh my God, that's it.
Huh.
That's my idea. But then free diving, because no human in history, Chris, has tried free diving at such a high altitude
I, I,
ever.
I,
At least known.
Yeah, it seems to, I mean, not that I track this stuff with great specificity, but it certainly seemed like something I've never heard of. And I think, maybe you've already thought of this, but I highly, highly, highly recommend that you talk to some scientists that research this stuff. I know a couple of people that do a lot of altitude medicine, altitude research. And I just think it would be a
Ah,
fascinating
great.
thing to think about, because I mean, I dive too. And I mean, I know about, the bends and narco dives and weird kinds of things that your body has to deal with
Great.
at pressures and stuff. And I just think it would be I mean, I'm certainly no physiologist or human biology kind of expert, but I think it would just be there's going to be people that want to do blood samples and test you, and so
Yeah.
so are you involving scientists and researchers with this, or just is that a plan, or is
So,
that already being
yeah.
done?
So basically, it's an interesting question because obviously it's not just going to be a sports challenge,
Mm-hmm.
go in, go out, do the thing. No, it's actually my freediving coach and my mountain guide they were like, it's actually becoming a scientific
Good.
experiment
Good.
because we
Except
don't
I can
we
say good because you're the
no,
guinea pig in this, not me. So
right? I'm like, oh my God, guys, just take a second. No, because it's transforming Chris to this bigger thing than it was in my head,
hmm.
because it's such like it's an experiment because nobody has tried
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's dangers, there's physiological dangers, but they're all like they can all be controlled, and there's risk assessments within this project.
Hmm.
But we definitely want to test and involve maybe one scientific person or two, and this is currently in discussion,
Hmm.
not making it either a too big of a thing. I still
Yeah.
want to keep
Yeah.
it fun and, and
Yeah.
and challenging, and I don't
Hmm.
want to make a whole PhD out of this either.
Right. Yeah.
But definitely, yeah, guys, it's too complex either. But you're right. It's a discussion that I'm having with my team that I'm building up for this. How can we bring this to a more interesting
Hmm.
level to help out science and medicine? And
Yeah.
because there's actually, if not none, studies about freediving in altitude. Like it's
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very
Pff, yeah.
uh,
It's
unknown.
novel.
We don't
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't know how the body will react. It's
It,
possible. I don't know actually, Chris.
Yeah. No,
So
no scientific institutional review board would approve it. So it has to be a case study with an N of one, and you're the one. So, wow.
yeah,
Well, and
we'll
again,
see. I'm gonna try this. I'm
if
gonna
it,
try.
depending upon how it
Let's
all turns
see.
out and stuff, I mean, just, back channel me. I have two people, one's a PhD and one's an
For
MD
sure.
that I think would
Yeah,
know and be able, at the very least, to give you some tips and guidance and stuff. If you need that, if you do, just, let me know and I'd be
I would
happy to
love
do
to be in
introductions.
contact with them.
Yeah, I've got a couple of folks that this
Please,
is kind
please
of
put us
okay. Will do.
in contact.
Do you have
Uh,
like a training regimen for this, or step us through like what do you have workouts yet,
yes.
or okay, tell us what that's like.
So Chris, the Guinness the Guinness actually the Guinness Enterprise has very recently approved this application.
Oh, congratulations.
It was Thank you. It was like a week ago, so it's very, very new. I
Hmm.
had an idea previously for a Guinness World Record, but which was approved too, but I decided to change it to this project, which was less risky and more of a fit with my schedule.
Uh-huh.
So we actually did not decide to start like the training program before it was approved,
Hmm.
but the training plan is going to be very strict and intense, and it involves for instance training for altitude, and having
Hmm.
lower amounts of oxygen in your body.
Hmm.
So there's like machines for that, and there's even like tents for
I
that, where you go
know.
in a tent
Yeah.
and you kind of calculate 6,000, 7,000. So
Hmm.
that's going to be one part of the training. And then there's kind of hardcore fitness muscles training, like
Mm-hmm.
really developing muscles, like I do for mountains,
Mm-hmm.
running.
Yeah.
I have to be able to run 20 kilometers without being too tired and being
Mm-hmm.
able to talk at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And for the moments, I can run 10 kilometers, and how do
Mm-hmm.
you calculate that in measurements?
Like a
Yeah,
10K would be 6 miles for us.
yeah.
10
So
kilometers would be
10
6 miles.
kilometers,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So for now, I can do 10 kilometers while talking
Mm-hmm.
and not being too exhausted. And I have to do 20 to be at full shape. So you see, I'm not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to train in the mountains. I need to train because we're still going to do a summit of 6,000 and more, which I have never done, and then dive in the lake. I mean, free dive in the lake. And so that also involves Chris a few times per week to go in the freezing cold lake that we have in Geneva,
Wow.
building up
Oh
resistance
my
to the
gosh.
cold,
Wow.
like ice training.
I'll have to
And so it involves everything.
I'll have to put you in touch with Wim
Yeah.
Hof. He was an early guest on the show. He knows how to, to
He was?
spend a
No
lot of
way.
yeah, he was.
I'm such a big fan.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh my
How,
God.
well, I'll
Yeah.
add Wim to the introduction list. Yeah, Wim. I forget
Yeah,
maybe our
Chris.
second or third season. So yeah, tune in. Go back to the old catalog. It's out there. So yeah,
I have
yeah,
his book.
yeah.
He's the one that developed all this. But basically, we have this lake in front of where I work, and you can literally go and do your ice bath there. It's so cold,
Wow.
and so yeah, just cold training,
Yeah.
alpinism, running,
Yep.
muscle training, and obviously altitude, and then obviously free diving, static free diving, Chris. So being able to hold your breath a maximum. So you have to imagine at 6,000, it's almost you almost have 50% less of oxygen in your
Right.
system, and you
Right.
have to be able to
Yeah.
breath hold at the surface. For just even think at a static freediving at the surface,
Yeah.
being able to breath hold with half of the oxygen that you usually have. Imagine it's a very
That
interesting
yeah, that's the
experiment.
biophysiology of it that I just can't wrap my head around. So I mean that's fascinating.
Yeah,
That wow.
and I'm not even curious.
Wim
Sorry to
I was just
interrupt
gonna
you.
say Wim
Yeah.
was doing one of his antics years ago, and I'm sure he set some kind of record or something, but I forget, he was like in the, who knows, the polar ice cap or
No,
something.
he did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
was swimming under, like there's a hole in the ice, and he swum underneath to pop out another hole down, X number of meters down the way, and his retinas froze or something. His eyeballs froze, and he couldn't see. So be really careful, Noel.
Oh,
So really,
oh my God.
talk. Jeeps. So yeah. So
Yeah.
wow. So
There's the cold. Yeah,
are
we'll
you
see.
cold acclimated generally from like do you do ice plunges and stuff like that? I mean, is that part of the training
Yeah,
regimen
so
then?
this I
So
do.
gotcha. Oh,
Yeah,
that
this
is
I do already a lot.
whew, whew.
My mom does it. My sisters. It's not easy because it's actually very difficult, and it's
Yeah.
like having 1,000 knives in your body when you go in
Mm-hmm.
the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard.
We have
Uh,
we have a
and
goofy
then
we have a goofy thing in the States called polar plunges or polar bear plunges or whatever. And
yeah.
about 2 winters ago,
Hmm.
on January 1st, I and a number of
Hmm.
other crazy friends of mine in an organized thing jumped into Lake Michigan, where we live near here, and it wasn't the coldest as it has been, but I know exactly what you mean. I'm kind of all Wim Hofed up with my breath and everything like that, and oh my gosh, it's searing. I mean, it's unbelievable how like from zero to like
It's so
total
hard.
body pain that can be. So
Yeah,
I tip my
it's
hat to you. You're an animal. That's amazing.
Chris, you would do it without any difficulty, like anybody. It actually, that's the thing. It's very mental, and like every other challenge in life, Chris, it depends on your mental.
Yeah.
If you
Yep.
decide in your mind that it's okay, that you can do it, that you're just going to do it, there's no choice, and you decide
Yeah.
to take on something or I think the brain is so powerful, and I know you must have heard this 1,000 times through your podcast, but I think mentally this ice cold water, hitting your body, that's when it's not physical anymore. It's mentally your brain.
Mm-hmm.
You keep it, and you're like, I'm staying, and you count. You stay 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, not more, because then it becomes dangerous. But you
Right.
force yourself to count and stay and accept the pain, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of open your arms and accept the cold, accept the challenge, accept the difficulty. And then what's interesting, after a minute, Chris, of suffering, the pain goes away, and do you know that you actually feel very good in the water, and you can actually feel that it's not cold anymore. You don't even feel the cold
Yeah,
anymore. Does
it's
that
like
make sense?
yeah, there's like a paradoxical transition or something like that. And like you said, you nailed it. I
Crazy.
mean, the whole mindset of it. If it's like if I'm going to suffer through this the entire time, you're going to suffer through it the entire time. If you say I'm going to suffer for the first part of it and then I'm going to acclimate and then it's going to be oddly
Embrace
fine,
it.
then that's what
Yeah,
chances are going to happen. So yeah, yeah, I get it.
yeah.
Wow.
Uh, and yeah,
So do you
and I
have
think that's
do you
very
have
inspiring.
a
Cold water is
calendar?
like a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a calendar target date for this yet, or is it too soon to plan for that?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. It's in we're targeting November 2026.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. And what kind of
And yeah.
what like atmospheric temperatures and water temperatures might you be facing in November 2026 in that part of Chile?
I wrote it down here to not give you false information.
You're so good. You look up your CV. No one has to fact.
No, no, but I
No one
actually
has to
have the
fact check
file
this
open.
episode.
It's actually not that bad.
Good, good.
It's not that bad. 3 degrees,
Okay, okay. And
and
that's
it's
that's
minus 5
Celsius,
degrees
right?
at
3 degrees
night
Celsius, not Fahrenheit, right?
Celsius.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
It's
that's
it's not that
it. Yeah,
not
yeah.
that bad
It's
actually.
that's a relative thing, Noelle. It's not that bad.
And that's in summer, huh? That's if you have a non-freezing lake and all. Of course, if you have a ice lake, that's a
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
But we're looking at 3 degrees, which is
Wow.
kind of what an ice bath can do
Let
for your
me.
training.
I want to ask you a couple last dumb questions about this, and we can start to wrap up. But is there what's the aquatic life in that lake? Is there fish and whatnot
Nothing,
and plants or
nothing.
nothing? Okay, okay. I
We can ask ChatGPT. I haven't even looked up exactly this. I just made sure there's no like crocodiles or
yeah,
whatever
right.
in the
Yeah,
lake.
exactly. Nothing bigger than you. Yeah, because
I
I
would
would.
love to see sharks though.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that
don't
would be
think
good.
so.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it seems to. I mean, just again, my naive curiosity about like what has adapted itself biologically. Be it plant life or animal life, aquatic animal life, marine life, to those kinds of
In
whatever
such a
bizarre
cold.
pressures and atmospheric issues that would be in a high altitude lake. So that's interesting. All
I
right.
mean, not much, Chris. Of course, plants, not much. I
Yeah.
know the depth is like 5 to 10 meters, so it's a very, very small depth.
Mm-hmm.
So but I mean, look at Norway. You have orcas, you have
Right.
humpback whales. I've been there, and
Mm-hmm.
it's there's icebergs and ice, like so.
Mm-hmm.
Marine life is absolutely possible in those
Yeah.
temperatures. It's
Yeah.
just because it's a lake, it's so high.
Yeah.
So I guess you
Evolutionarily,
have.
how a lake wound up
Yeah.
there, so to speak. So
It's crazy. It's
yeah.
a natural lake. It's
Yeah.
not man-made.
That is
So
crazy. So Well, Noëlle, listen, we have covered a lot of territory. We've gone high, we've gone low, we've gone around the globe. So is there anything that we've missed that you'd like to add before we wrap up?
No, I think, Chris, I'm like, oh my God, it's been almost 2 hours
I know it's
and I
gone
need
fast.
to let
Gosh.
you go
Oh,
on with your day.
that's great. Well, and
And
I
it's
had
been
one other
great, Chris.
thing that I just have to say. So your grandfather's who you wrote the biography of, then, right? Is that right? In my little
Exactly.
okay, all right.
Exactly.
Because when you said his name, I thought I know that name, and I know the name by doing background on you. That is very cool. That is very cool. Well, maybe that
He was a Swiss learner,
wow.
in banking. He was an amazing person.
It
He
well,
started from nothing and had a very successful life, but starting from nothing, which is quite rare.
yeah.
Usually, privileged people, kind
Get
of,
a head
you
start.
know, s-
Hmm.
yeah, and he wasn't, and he created a whole business, and it was a beautiful story, and I think it was worth to
That's
say it to
I'm
the
glad
world.
it's immortalized in the book. So maybe that's a good segue. So if listeners would like to pick up a copy of that book or your leadership book, learn more about you,
Yes.
connect, things like that, what are some of the best ways? And we can put that into our LinkedIn and into the show notes.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, I really love LinkedIn. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
I
Good.
think LinkedIn is and I'm very responsive to messages. I'm very open to people and ideas and exchanges and cooperation and I would say LinkedIn and buying the book. You can buy it on Amazon, on Barnes and Nobles.
Okay.
Both books. No, wait, I'm mistaken now. The Swiss book is quite local, Chris, because it's a Swiss story. It's more local, but you can find it on a few websites. And the other one on Amazon, obviously, Barnes and Nobles.
Mm-hmm.
There is also the audiobook of my grandfather's book on Apple Books. So you can definitely find
Okay.
all of this on the
Well,
net. And I'm very happy to connect through my
great.
LinkedIn messages, I would say. Yeah,
Okay, we will get
definitely.
all that if people are working out for whatever Guinness challenge that they have while they're listening to this. They don't need to stop and break stride, but I'll put all that into the all that into the show notes so people can check that out, and then there'll be obviously the write up about this too. So. Oh, Noëlle, this was long overdue. Thank you so much for taking
Oh,
the time to be on. I so
thank
enjoyed it.
you.
You are an
I'm sorry if I
inspiration.
talk a lot, Chris.
No, no, that's the way the show is. People want to get to know about you, and I think listening to your story and your background is quite inspirational. So it's just been a treat for me to be able
Thank you,
to
Chris.
share that with the world and to pick your brain. And then you and I need to do a lot of back channeling, and I'll do some connections with some of these other folks with some of the cool stuff that you're doing.
Oh, I would love that. Thank you so much. And I know we talked about me today, but I wish I could ask you 1,000 questions too. But I
Okay.
can already read a lot about you, and I know already a lot about you, and hopefully we can meet in the future again and be able to talk more, more.
That'll be great.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would
Thank you so much.
love to have a round two. So let's do keep in touch.
Me
Take
too,
care.
for
Alrighty.
sure.
Bye bye.
Take care, Chris. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye bye.
As a reminder, listeners can read a summary of this episode and access links to the show notes via my LinkedIn Top Voice companion article, along with past guests as well. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I have, and I hope it will help you in your journey to living your life in full. Until next time. Living a Life in Full is a production of Stout Media, a subsidiary of Gordian Knot, LLC. Assistant producer, Gracie Wong. Music, Dan O'Brien. Executive producer and host, Dr. Chris Stout. To learn more, stop by our website, A Life in Full, for show notes. And please recommend us to your friends and subscribe on your favorite platform. And as for the obligatory disclaimer, this podcast is for general information uses only and does not constitute the practice of psychology, medicine, nutrition, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical or psychological advice. No doctor-patient relationship is formed. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, I take conflicts of interest seriously. For all of my disclosures as well as show notes, please see livingalifeinfull.org/podcast and my LinkedIn profile. Thanks, and until next time.